Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Secular Sports. With the draft being now over, now comes the time where teams are trying to sign undrafted free agents. I don't think that there are going to be that many good signees. That's why I'll be naming the six guys. As of this recording, the University of Houston's former transfer quarterback Kyle Allen has just signed with the Carolina Panthers. I never found him very draftable anyway. In his lone four games for the Cougars in 2017, he just threw four touchdowns versus four interceptions. He was benched after his third game in September of last year after having transferred to Houston from Texas A&M. At A&M, he had thrown 17 touchdowns versus 7 interceptions as Johnny Manziel's successors. And as he comes to the Panthers roster, I personally feel that third string and potential second string quarterback Taylor Heinicke will beat him out. Heinicke already knows Norv Turner's system after already having been with him in Minnesota, and he's almost as athletic as Deshaun Watson. His draft combine measurables and game-winning two-point conversion run in a Week 3 preseason matchup against the 49ers in 2017 proved it, while he was the Vikings' third-string quarterback. Other signings that I love post-draft are Poona Ford to the Seattle Seahawks. He kind of reminded me of Mike Patterson, Pete Carroll's former defensive tackle from USC, a man who racked up 67 total tackles as a 4-3 defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2007. 67 tackles is pretty rare coming from an interior lineman. Ford, like Patterson, is just a shade under 6 feet tall, and it's possible that Ford could do for Carroll in Seattle what Patterson did for him at USC and later in Philly. Next, I like Simi Cobbs, a potential slot receiver for the Washington Redskins. He's quicker than he is fast. How do we know that? His 6.7 second three-cone time proves that, while he was only able to run 4.6 in each of his 40s at his combine and pro day. In addition, he had a yard per catch average drop by 6 as he caught 17 yards per catch in 2016 and then just above 11 in 2017. Not pretty good when you're trying to become a top 100 pick. Godwin Igwe-Buikwe, the defensive back out of Northwestern, looks like a pretty attractive free agent prospect for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He could be a potential safety and special team standout with a 4.4 40, 10'8" broad jump, 6.56 seconds in the three-cone drill, and a 35.5-inch vertical jump. He looked like a very attractive prospect coming out as one of the Wildcats' best defensive players. Hopefully he can show all these attractive attributes as he tries to make the Buccaneers squad. As of this recording, former LSU running back Darrell Williams remains unsigned. Despite improving from his junior season to the senior season by 600 yards, he went undrafted. His athletic attributes frankly, were not very attractive, considering that he ran 240s at his pro day and combine with times of 4.7 and 4.6 seconds. And he didn't necessarily show that he was all that quick with a 7.2 second three-cone time. He already had a hard time getting on the field at LSU, considering that he was behind Leonard Fournette in his first 3 years and Darius Geis last year. Based on his yards after contact and lack of athleticism, his shots of making an NFL team look quite hindered. Finally, the last good available undrafted free agent is Alan Lazard of Iowa State. At 6'5" and 225 pounds, he looks like he plays to his height and his height's expectations. Over his last 3 years in a 4-year career with the Cyclones, he averaged 65 catches, 900 yards, and 8 touchdowns per season. He ran a 4.55 40-yard dash time and had a 10-foot broad jump in each of his workouts. combine and pro day. His three-cone time was slightly disappointing, but it wasn't. It was not terrible. A 7.1 second time to be quite accurate. Unfortunately, however, him not being drafted was a bit of a surprise. He was a Senior Bowl invite and had good practices in his second and third day of a 3-day practice week. He even looked like a potential tight end conversion based on him looking like a move guy and having movements that were similar to the Buccaneers tight end Cameron Brate. Hopefully, his Senior Bowl squad, the Denver Broncos, will sign him. I think that he would be an upgrade over many of their past failures at reserve wide receivers, most notably Cody Latimer and Benny Fowler. His potential to be a stand-up slot tight end is definitely worth a look. If given the chance, he could definitely be better than A.J. Derby, the tight end who was released by the Broncos in the middle of the 2017 season. It might be difficult as we speak because of the team's drafting of Troy Fumagalli, a Wisconsin tight end who might be a bargain in the 5th round of this year's draft. With that being said, when you're an undrafted free agent, you will have to sign for the best opportunity. It has to be for money, roster spot chances, or with an organization that has actual geniuses inside it. When it comes to money, your bonus money will range from $5,000 to $20,000. Although that seems like very little, if you get a sum like $20,000, there probably is something special about you. When it comes to roster chances, you kind of have to do what Tony Romo did when he was looking for a team in 2003, around the time he was draft eligible. He was deciding between the Denver Broncos and the Dallas Cowboys. The Broncos already had Jake Plummer on the roster and many other quarterbacks that would have been difficult for him to surpass, despite having his ex-Eastern Illinois alum Mike Shanahan and a lot more money on the table from the Broncos. He decided to go with a worse quarterback depth chart with the Dallas Cowboys. When he arrived, all that was there was Quincy Carter and Chad Hutchinson. We know how bad those guys were. Lastly, if you end up with a genius or maybe even a genius organization, it could really turn out pretty well for you. In 2012, Vontaze Burfict signed with the Cincinnati Bengals and landed with a great motivator and turnaround of talent, then defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. We know what kind of magic Zimmer has done with perceived wash-ups like Adam Pac-Man Jones and Terrence Newman, who's still going strong at the near age of 40 years old. And Malcolm Butler, going to a genius organization. He had been a fast food employee at a local Alabama fried chicken joint and ultimately ended up at West Alabama. He had a tryout the day after, if not just after the draft in 2014. And as he progressed within the team, he later caught the game-winning interception against Russell Wilson and Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 49, and it only got better for him there. That'll do it for this edition of Secular Sports. Draft grades will come along as the days roll around. Until then, keep subscribing, give feedback, and look for more video as new events keep happening. Peace.